All right, everyone, class is about to start. Take your seats. Welcome to UGC 101, the podcast about all things user-generated content.
Welcome back to the UGC 101 podcast. I'm your host, Nate Flake, and today we are learning about something that is very, very needed for UGC creators, and that is collecting payment. So, Grace, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Nate, for having me. I've been looking forward to this. I love that you're focusing on UGC with your podcast, and you've had some of my favorite people on, so I'm happy I could be here too. I'm Grace. I'm the founder of DoPay. I started it in 2023. I'm a lawyer by training, but prior to DoPay, I was a full-time mom, and I was looking for something that would sort of marry my interest with, my background in advocacy. So as a lawyer, I worked in food sustainability, in women's rights, human rights, immigration rights, and I just saw that there was this new field. So this new creator economy, and I knew that there was a problem with unpaid invoices. So we really thought of DoPay as an affordable and effective solution to the challenge of unpaid invoices for creators, because it's something that comes up a lot. It's something that's very frustrating. It takes a lot of mental energy and emotional energy to deal with unpaid invoices. And it's terrible to be waiting for money for work you've completed. So that's how we really created DoPay as a subscription service. It's $19 a month for unlimited unpaid invoice advocacy, because we really want to be able to protect all creators and give them this affordable service that, ensures that their income and their bills will be paid.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's like the one thing that I guess like my biggest complaint, about UGC is, and probably the biggest learning curve for me is I started on Fiverr, and I still do like majority of my UGC through Fiverr because I work full time, and so it's easier for me to do that than like doing reach out. But I've started to do, especially over the last like 6 months since we met at Foundations trans event down in Scottsdale, which was awesome, where I saw you first speak, and kind of teach about what DoPay was. And ever since, probably the last 5-6 months, I've been getting a lot more inbound works through like social media or through email and things like that. And that part's the hardest part. It's like the most annoying thing by far. Right. And I think some people try to have like workarounds, I'll put a watermark on it or something, but even they're like, okay, cool, we're good to go. We're net 30 or we're net, like I had one that went almost 60 days, and it was supposed to be within a 2-week thing.
Right.
And I should have called you before, I should have got on the horn immediately before this is before I knew about DoPay. So like, how did you start? I understand like that's kind of, you saw this creator economy. How did you like get introduced to UGC, and tell me that kind of story of how that evolved?
Right. Well, that's really interesting, because I actually the origin story is I was reading a Forbes article, and it was by a freelance writer who was having trouble collecting a lot of invoices for $300. And she just felt really powerless in her ability to collect these, because the amount was low. So she couldn't, it wasn't worth it to go for a lawyer, a traditional litigation path. And collections agencies don't normally touch those smaller invoices. And even if they did, they would take a large part of that invoice. So that's really when I was like, there has to be another solution. Like people can't just not be able to go after these unpaid invoices. So we really actually thought that it would be freelance writers and, other kind of freelancers that would be coming to DoPay. And then when we started, it was UGC creators. And I literally didn't know what UGC was. I had to Google it. I was like, what is this? But so many people were coming to us, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is where we're going to be very effective, because, you have more collaborations, different payment terms, smaller, amounts than, let's say, like a IT firm or a marketing agency. Yeah. So it happens more frequently, and you are dealing with, newly formed brands, newly formed agencies. So things slip between the cracks. So that's when it was like an aha moment, like, oh, so it's really UGC creators and, influencers, anybody really in the creator economy who will be having these issues more so than maybe a traditional economy.
So when you very first started, like go through your first UGC, like, I guess win, or like your first case you did. I don't know what you call them, your first problem.
Right. We see a lot of ghosting. So that's really what it is. And that's something, when I talk about, I told you I have a master class, we sort of, we've been able to identify reasons why invoices are late. A big one is ghosting, right? So it's ghosting. We also say disputes, and then we just say admin delay. So with the ghosting, it's something that I think there's been situations with big and smaller companies where they just won't stop responding. I mean, it happens a lot. We see it being complained about on X, on different social media platforms, and it didn't really feel, I don't think creators felt like they had a solution. It was just sending their own emails. We don't find that automated reminders are very effective because those are very easy to ignore. So our first cases were really about, getting a response from companies that had ghosted. And our clients have been very generous in terms of their testimonials because people are very happy when we get them paid. And, it sometimes feels like magic when they haven't been getting a response for, weeks or months, years sometimes.
That's
and then we
wild.
come in, and because we are very professional, we know what we're doing, we've really honed our tactics, we'll get a response. And we're also very persistent, and we call it professional persistence. So we're never trying to burn down a bridge or to blow anybody up. We're just really trying to get you paid. And we're really trying to take that off of you as a creator's plate because you guys already have, you just told me you have a 9 to 5 on top of all of this. You have so much stuff going on. And this is just something that I've seen in advocacy. If you focus on a specific issue, you can be much more effective than focusing on all the issues at the same time. So that's why we've really carved out this niche about us really focusing on protecting client and creator income and going after unpaid invoices.
Yeah, well, you even said it like it feels when you're getting ghosted, especially if you want repeat work, you're like, okay, they're going to hate me after this because I'm just going to keep writing them. And then a lot of times it's like, well, chances of me getting paid at this point are zero. Like I'm just going to keep writing and I'm hoping every couple of weeks I'll throw a reminder in.
Right.
So how do you guys keep that? I mean, obviously it's kind of like an awkward thing for the creator to reach out. How do you guys keep that client happy and not like, I feel like almost like where they would want to like retaliate or something.
Right. Well, by the client, you mean the non-paying client?
Yeah, the non-paying client.
Right.
Sorry.
I think that first of all, like what we see a lot is that I'll get a message from a creator and they're like, I'm going to give them until the end of the week. And then I'm going to give them until the end of the month. And then I'm going to give them a couple more weeks. At that point, you really have to assess whether this client relationship is something that you have to keep protecting because they're not trying to protect it. And we have definitely been able to maintain that relationship. There's been situations where I believe there's one creator, she had been ghosted once. We went in and helped her. Then this company did help her retained her again, and they ghosted her again. But obviously she does good work. And then we reached out because we already had his contact to the CEO of the agency. And we were like, this is happening again. You obviously like her work. Maybe you should be better at paying her on top. And again, she still has had repeated work. So, it's just really about being understanding and being professional in the relationship. But I think it's always better to, bring in a third party because then you're removing yourself from the situation. It's not you begging for your money. It's you advocating for your money from a third party rather than being the one to keep sending those emails. But I always say that as a creator, you are your own business and you have to have boundaries. You don't have to keep begging for work in a place where they're not going to treat you well. And I think that's really important to say. And I think you said this at the beginning, but a partnership or a collaboration isn't done until payment is complete. So it's not when you send in your content, even if your content is watermarked. You are not done with that business deal until you are paid. And that's really what we try to stress, that you should be protecting your income. You should know your value and you should not be afraid to stand up for yourself, by yourself or also bringing in a third party like DuPay.
So how often does it happen where they like respond, like they won't respond, the person gets ghosted,
right?
And then you guys come in. I want to get into the details of like how you guys do it because to me it's like a mystery, right? That's wild. It's like you go search these people down on LinkedIn or something. But how often does it happen where like you guys get a response like within days? So I'm active obviously on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. And I feel like I see stuff not even posted by DuPay, but posted by other creators where it's like testimonials. And it's like, I've been trying for 4 weeks and then these guys got a response within 24 hours. Is that like pretty common where it's like within a couple of days you hear back the first time?
Well, we have an 81% success rate, which is really great,
wild.
Especially when you look at it compared to collections agencies or just a lawyer sending a single demand letter without having that back and forth engagement. And we really love those very quick ones. We've had people paid within 10 minutes, like 24 hours, a week, one demand letter. So we have a protocol of demand letters and then we escalate. But it happens, it's like, each situation is unique. And that's what I always tell people when they reach out to me. Like, each situation is unique. I can't predict what'll happen. I just know that we have been able to get people paid in situations where it seemed like it was completely hopeless, or if there was an admin delay or just moving you to the top of the line. We love the situations where it's super quick. I don't know the exact breakdown of super quick versus not quick,
Yeah.
but it really ranges. I mean, we have the 10-minute ones, and then we have ones that have taken a year, and everything falls in between. It's just really about, again, pursuing your payment professionally so that they can't ignore you.
Yeah. I mean, and that's 81% of 0%, right? Like, that's
exactly.
like way went from people are coming to you
Right.
when they're almost like when they're desperate, which also is like my next question is, how long do you've done now? I mean, you told me before we started, if you're comfortable sharing, like, how many thousands of dollars have you guys recouped?
So we've collected over $375,000 at this point, and invoices range from $70 to $100,000. And I mean, that $70 is really my soft spot because those are the people who really feel like they had no hope at all, right? And that they were just going to be taken advantage of. But the $100,000 feels really good too, because that was a very big creator with a really big brand that was just ghosting as well and making it very difficult. So you can see that it runs the gamut. So it happens like at any stage of your creator career. It's not just UGC, it's influencers, other people like that.
Yeah. So you guys represent not only UGC creators, you represent anybody trying to get paid, any creator.
B2B transaction, really. And we also help agencies. So we have an agency subscription as well, because they're also dealing with it. They're a small business. They're waiting for brands to pay them. Then they're waiting to pay, the creators, however the relationship is. So we can help in any B2B situation, and also freelancers. Like, we've helped stylists, photographers, marketing, IT.
Yeah.
We just see that creators come to us.
Yeah, it's hard.
I want to just say that about how, like, they come to us when they're desperate. We really want DoPay, though, to be income protection, which is why we've also added, like how you have AAA. So it's really like income protection insurance. And that's why we make it very affordable and have it also include an invoice generator and tracking system. We also have a contract red flag alert that helps you flag, the issues before they arise. And then just having access to a creator advocate. So for our subscribers, whenever they have any kind of issue or they have a question about payments, they're always welcome to reach out to us. So we don't want to just come in during times of desperation.
The bad times, the good
we want
times
to
too.
be there for full coverage.
So this podcast is for a lot of new creators too, right? So I want to kind of break it down very quickly just to like its basic level in case we're going like too advanced already. If you're doing any UGC work off of platforms, right? Off of Fiverr or off of Upwork or whatever, you're getting direct to reach out from X or Instagram, TikTok, or email, name your poison there. And you create a video. Let's say they send you the brief, you make the video, or they send you the product, you make the video, you send the video back, and then they say, send us an invoice, right? Most of the time, people are going on Canva and creating some cute invoice template, and then they send it off as a PDF. And at that point is when the brand either doesn't pay you within 14 days or 30 days. That's when they can reach out to you. But what you're saying is you guys actually have an invoice generator that then tracks it.
Right.
So, and then I'm actually, as I'm learning this, I'm like, I need to be doing this. I'm not even doing this. Well, we'll talk after the call for sure. But, and that way it's not just some stagnant PDF, this like standalone PDF that has zero traceability.
Right. And actually the reason why we started the invoice generating tracking system is because of the cute Canva, all the cute Canva invoices that we were seeing. And you're like, they don't have to be cute.
Like, these
they
are
have
so
to
bad.
have the information that they need to pay you as easily as possible. Because we were seeing some very well designed, invoices, but that's not giving them the information they need. And that is really just like, when is this payment due? What was the work that you did? What number invoice is it? So you can always go back to it. And also a payment link, how you want to get paid. So we really broke it down to the most essential information that they need to pay you easily and swiftly. So while Canva invoices are super cute, use your Canva skills for your content, not for your invoices.
You're calling me out, Grace. I know I'm bad. I'm like, but the
I'm
font,
sure they're beautiful.
it's cool. It looks cool. What payment links do you guys integrate with different merchants, or like, or is it just like a PayPal link, or what's your? Okay.
Well, in our demand letters, we always do include a link for payment. Or, if it's like the bank info, you need to have that. You just, again, need to make it as easy as possible for them to be able to pay you. You're not trying to give them more hurdles because they'll create their own hurdles. You want to be as straightforward as you can be, which is why, yes, we recommend having a payment link in your invoice. And that's something that we do for ours.
Okay, cool. One thing I wanted to ask, you mentioned it earlier was agencies, right? I don't think, and it like light bulb moment for me, sometimes when agencies aren't paying you, it's not because they hate you, it's because the client hasn't paid them yet, right?
Right.
Do like a lot of people have a protocol where they don't pay the creator until they get paid by the client?
I don't know the agency protocol. I just know that that has been a challenge sometimes, or in the hurdles about getting a creator paid, is because the agency is not getting paid and they don't want to release their payment until they've been paid. But if your contract is with the agency and there's a deadline, then they do need to be paying you as well.
So you send a lot of links to agencies, or you
Or
send a lot of
well, I
letters
mean,
to
it's
agencies?
anybody who's the non-paying client. So whether it was with the
Oh,
agency or it
interesting.
was with the brand. But we've had situations where the agency is not paying, so we've escalated to the brand. And there have been situations where the brand will say, "Oh, I already paid that. Why aren't they paying?" And then they'll get involved. Or we've actually had really nice brands who've paid double because they wanted to make it right. And then we've had situations where the brand hasn't paid the agency, but the agency, and then we go after the agency, and the agency will make it right. And then they'll go
Yeah.
after the brand. So that's what
Yeah.
I say. Like when I say each situation is unique, we really look at each situation on its own to figure out the best solution for it.
Yeah, the one that I had was the agency was like, well, they're not. They kept saying, well, the client's not responding to me, and I'm like, dude, that's not my problem. Like
Right.
that's like you got paid your fee, right? Like you're obviously not getting paid what you're paying me, or else you guys wouldn't make any money, you know.
Right.
So that's interesting. That's something I didn't even think about.
Well,
So
I mean, just like a story. So I was talking to an agency owner the other day, and he had mentioned how a brand hadn't paid him, so he couldn't pay his creators. And he was like, well, I'm only getting 20% off of it, so it doesn't really matter to me. And that really bothered me. And I immediately was like, no, but it matters to the creator. And they had an agreement with you to get paid. So he was like, oh, right. I mean, sometimes it's like they don't think of it like that.
Yeah.
But I understand you're only getting 20%, but that's a lot to the creator. And that's why those $70, those $300 invoices matter to me, because I think all time is valuable. It doesn't matter if you're an agency owner. It doesn't matter if you're like the president of the world.
Yeah.
Your time is as valuable as the stay-at-home mom who has taken nap time from her to create something. Or for you, being a 9-to-5er and then staying up until 1 o'clock in the morning to create. Your time is valuable. And that's something that really bothers me. And that's why advocacy is so important to me, to be able to represent people whose time is valuable and it matters as much as the president of the world.
Yeah. Well, and it's like those relationships too with the creators. You're gonna look around soon and find you don't have any creators that will work with you if you're an agency that doesn't put them first, right?
Right. And that's why the UGC community is so great too, because you really do share information. We always say, like, don't blast somebody if they're not paying you, because they can also use that against you and say, oh, it's defamation, or you breach some term of the contract by blasting us publicly. Yeah. That's why when we do it in a very professional manner. That is one of our escalation tactics. But the UGC community is very strong. And if you just search a brand, or there's, Creator Vault is out there, other communities like yours, ask within a community and they'll give you feedback if you feel like something is shady. And I think that that's something that's really great about the UGC community.
Yeah, the UGC community is pretty awesome. So you recommend don't like adding them on Instagram and throwing them on your story or something if they're not paying you. Come to you guys first.
At least wait until you get paid.
Yeah,
wait until you get paid. Let us handle it professionally. Get paid, and then you can do what you want. But we don't recommend doing that while you're still waiting for payment.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice. So walk me through your guys' like if you have a customer, they're paying $19 a month, right? Do they have like a portal they can log into, or how does your guys' interface work?
Yeah, so we have a website. So when you subscribe, then you'll get an onboarding link that has all the information that you need about DuPay and what is included. There's a link within that, and you can then submit your invoices that way. But also on our website, you are able to use your email to log in, and then you can send invoices. You can use our contract check alert. You can submit invoices. So we make it very easy and streamlined. That's something that I've always found very important, just to make things easy and streamlined so that people can protect their income, and you're trying not to spend extra time, chasing. We're trying to handle it as much as we can for you.
Yeah. So then let's say even like I said, after this call, I'm going to just sign up for the invoices alone. But let's say I wanted to submit, like I had an issue. Do I submit it through my login? Do I have to email you guys separately, or how does that work?
Oh, no, you can either submit it through your onboarding email, or you can submit it through the website. And then we'll collect the information we need for your demand letter. And that would be a contract, any communications you have. What else would it be? A contract? Oh, your invoice. And then we draft a demand letter within a day or two. We send it to you for approval, and then we begin our engagement with the non-paying client. And our customers are CC'd because we want everything to be transparent. And then we just start our engagement with them. So, I mean, the best case scenario is they'll pay immediately after that first demand letter. But if they get back to us and there's some kind of dispute about the content itself or about a payment term, then we really advocate and go back and forth, representing you. So we really take it up to the point of litigation because we're lawyers. We're able to do that. We just don't take it past litigation. But with our success rate, most of it is, figured out before then.
Yeah. Can you tell any like crazy stories? I would love to hear a couple. Like what's like you don't have to like blast anyone obviously, but like just like what's the craziest? I know I talked to Tran about one of hers, like.
Yeah, I mean, well, we helped Tran with hers, and that was also with a big agency. It was my precious Tran, who's been so supportive of DuPay from the beginning. So I think I saw her post about it on Instagram, and I was like, Tran, let me help you with this, please. And she's posted about the story now on my Insta, which was great. But yeah, it was for a big agency, for a big brand. They were just stringing her along. You could see, and it was one of those situations where she was like, I'm going to give them another week. I'll give them another week.
Being so
because
nice.
She was trying to be, right, exactly. She was trying to be a good creator for them. But when we got involved, we were able to get a response very quickly. And it was, I don't know how much I want to go into this, but it was an agency that was then being bought by another agency. And it seemed like maybe they were trying to hold funds in order to inflate maybe their value or something like that. But that doesn't mean they can't pay their creators. And that's why even if it is a very well-known agency, you still need to be able to protect yourself because it's not always these sketchy, scammy little brands. It is really, we've collected from very big companies because it happens everywhere along the line. Something that's been coming up more and more though, is that we're seeing one brand take content and use it as their own. And that's also a situation where I've seen creators be very frustrated. Like, what can I do about this? Like, they've already taken my work. And we've gotten a creator paid. I mean, several creators paid in that situation. But in one situation, she had gotten it taken down. I think it was on Facebook maybe. So Meta was actually helpful. And then we were able to go, when we got back to the brand and send an invoice, they were just completely denying it and gaslighting her. Like, oh no, we didn't use it. And then we had to collect the evidence to share with them and, represent her as a third party rather than her herself trying to get that money. And they were like, oh, right. Yeah, you're right. We did do this. So it's just that gaslighting. I mean, like anytime that's happening in the world, I find it very frustrating, especially when it's somebody's time and work and they haven't been paid for it. And that's being used as an excuse. Like, I just don't like when that happens.
So they totally just like went to that creator's page, ripped it off. And
that's been happening. Yes. Or it's run on another brand and like as a commercial, and then they're using that content. We've been able to collect. And again, each situation is unique, but we're able to help in that situation too, to do it, help file a takedown notice and then send the brand that's stealing the content an invoice for your work.
So what do you recommend in that situation if you're the creator, like just screenshotting the screen recording?
Taking as much evidence as you can before they take it down. Yeah. And I mean, and then even after we've gotten people collected, we're like, we'll go back to that site and make sure they're not doing it again, just to like make sure that there's not an ongoing situation.
It just keeps going.
Yeah. So it is something that creators have to be aware of. Like you do have to know where your content is being used.
Have you ever run into the AI avatar stuff?
Actually, this happened last week, and it wasn't somebody that's a DuPay customer, but she reached out to me saying she had, I think like she needed some money, right? Like that happens sometimes. You agree to things when you're in a desperate situation, unfortunately. And it was with one platform for her AI avatar, but then she saw that it was being used on another platform. And she didn't think she had granted permission for it. But then she sent me the contract. I reviewed it for her. And I saw that there was an assignment clause that literally let them, the original signee, send it to and like give anybody else the option to use it. And she just hadn't read her contract. Yeah. So that's something that you have to be very careful about, especially when it's AI. And you have to really look at your assignment rights to see if your content can be used by other platforms as well or by other brands. Because if you sign that contract, it's legally binding. And I believe the last place I saw, I think it sounded like they were trying to help her, but there's no guarantee that they will take anything down if it's already been signed, So with AI, you have to be incredibly careful.
Yeah. I mean, that happened to me early on because to your point, like she needed money. Like when you first start UGC, I feel like in my community, it's almost everybody that's new to a platform is like getting hit up by these AI avatar companies, right? Because they're like, I mean, for me, it was like, we'll give you $1,000 to read this script. And I'm like, dude, my rates are like $80. Like, that's awesome. $1,000, Yeah. And it was like, read a 5-minute script or you can talk about whatever you want to talk about for 5 minutes, which is you're just training the AI, right? And then it was like, and then we'll for sure run every ad by you before we post it. It won't be to these industries. But that same thing happened to me where like within months, it was like people sending me ads like, did you agree to this? And it was definitely not industries that like I agreed to. So I was able to basically get out of it because because they broke their contract.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
see,
was
great you
really,
had a
really, really
contract,
lucky.
because like if
Yeah,
that
I
was going
was
to be a
super
verbal
lucky.
agreement, then that's not necessarily something that they'd have to abide by. But you
Yeah.
have, and that's in my masterclass I was telling you about. That's one of the things I talk about is scams. And I know this sounds very basic, but I always say if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And you really have to trust your gut in every situation, like in life and also as a creator, because you just don't want to be taken advantage of. So if that was like you're charging $80 and they're like, I'm going to give you $1,000, you should be like, what are they going to do with this? Just take that extra second. As a new creator, you don't have to take everything that's offered to you, because you have to think about the long-term implications of that.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. What are some other like common scams that new creators can look out for? Because this podcast is like a lot, probably 80% new creators.
Right. I mean, let's see. So I have a list of 5 that I go through when I do my masterclass. The first one is, if something is too general. So if somebody's like, hey, gorgeous, or like, hi, beauty.
Hi, dear. Yeah.
Hi, dear. Exactly. That is most likely a scam, or that's something that you're going to run by a community to see if the brand is actually legitimate. And I was actually talking to another agency guy, and he was saying, oh, people always like ignore those, but we do them. And sometimes it's like a brand from China. And he was like, sometimes we haven't been paid, but sometimes we have. So sometimes that's when you have to think like, is this worth it or is it not worth it? Because I get them in my DuPay account. And I mean, I'm trying my best to be my own creator and it's hard. So it sounds nice when somebody like slides in my DM and they're like, hey, gorgeous. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
but still that's like not real. So it's on those days where I feel like maybe I needed a little like pick me up, but that's not worth it. Like, no. That you have to make sure that it's not a scam. You also have to look out for emails that are like, if it's like tower28@gmail.com, that's probably a scam. It's going to come from a corporate email if it's legitimate. So you just have to be aware, even like Nike at Yahoo, that's not going to be a real deal. Like you have to make sure that they're using a legitimate email. Something else is just like the format of an email. I've seen like really weird emails where they'll be bold here and then, like italics here and then different sizes. That's just a cut and paste job. So they should be professional also. So you are a business, they are a business. You should be, communicating in a professional manner. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah.
Also, like I said, if something's too good to be true, because that's something that we've helped people with in the past as well. We had a creator, and I think her rate was maybe like $50 to $80 a video. And then she was being offered like a huge retainer, like just coming out of the gate. And they didn't pay her, right? So they're saying like, oh, okay. Or they paid her for a couple videos and then didn't pay her for the rest of them. So you just have to understand, like, are they coming at me because I'm new and like they can take advantage of me, or do they actually want my content? So that's something to look out for as well. And like I said, you have to trust your gut. Like scams, like if something doesn't feel right, no matter how much you want it, or if it looks like you're getting this amazing like makeup deal or beauty deal, or like they're offering you a couch, if it's not real, like it's not going to be worth your time. Oh, also never pay for anything, right? So you don't pay for shipping, you don't pay for taxes, you don't pay for expenses. Or we saw this situation where people were being offered like $400 for a video, but you had to spend $50 to get the product.
Yeah.
Those are scams too. You should not be paying for anything having to do with the creation.
Yeah, a new one I just recently heard is like, since the tariffs have taken place, I mean, on and off every other day, it's like what I've seen in our community is people saying, oh yeah, you just got to pay like a tariff fee. And then
no, don't
like
do that.
once you have to pay for the shipping, but not shipping, just the tariff fee. And I'm like, what in the world? And it's just they're evolving,
Right. No, you should not be paying for anything. Like your content is enough. You don't need to be paying for things. Oh, also another one. Sorry, I'm like thinking of all the scams.
No, you're good.
If they're asking you for free videos. So if they're like, oh, send me a free video so I can see if I like your work. Don't do that. Like you can send them to your portfolio, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to be creating videos for them for free for the promise of future work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, most of the time they're just going to use those anyways. And they, oh, cool, got a free video, and they go to 10 creators and get 10 free videos.
Right. Exactly. So don't make it that easy for them.
Yeah, seriously. So what are some things that you would advise, like once you get a creator that, let's say they're brand new, like on X, and then they, before they come to you, I guess, like how far should they try to get? I know you say everyone's like super nice.
Right.
You usually say like, hey, after like 3 emails, that's when to involve us, or is it after 1, or like, what would you suggest?
I mean, we have that one woman who I love. She is out of the UK, and she posted about this. She was like, after 1 reminder, I send it to DuPay. And I mean,
really?
like, why not? Right? Like if they're not treating you properly, then you deserve to get paid, especially on those times where you've already been waiting like net 30, net 45. Like that just gives them more of an excuse to string along your payment. I mean, maybe 2 or 3 reminders, but there's no harm in getting us involved because we do it, as I said, in a very professional way, and we're really just protecting your interests.
Do you ever have the case where you recommend, because this is like also a hot topic with UGC, is like, especially new creators, right? They don't understand what like net 30 is or net 45. That's a pretty standard thing. Do you ever recommend pushing back on like net 30 terms? Be like, no, you have to pay me in 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks is my thing.
Right.
Or like, what do you recommend there? Because I heard all over the gambit.
Yeah, that goes with like contracts in general, right? So what we see is probably 80% of the time the contract is coming from the brand or agency, and you can look through it. And I mean, highly recommend you should read your entire contract. Yeah. That's what happened with the whole assignment thing. And even as a lawyer, sometimes I'll get things I'm like, okay, good, and like sign it. But you need to actually be reading it when it comes to your actual work. But in that, you could, redline it or put down, like change it if you want to. Then it's really up to them to accept it or not. If their policy is net 30 and you say like net 15, they can decide whether they want to continue or not. And you really have to prioritize like what's more important for you, like having that work or, pushing back on a deadline. You could try, but you have to sort of read the relationship.
Yeah, because you could risk just losing it.
Right.
They could be like, see, we'll just go with someone else.
Yeah, because I've seen that too. I mean, I get to talk to other agencies at, networking events and things like that. And I was talking to one woman and she's like, I review so many contracts. If they send me any revisions, it's a no. But then other ones are like, oh, I try to work with the creator to see like what would be best for both of us. So it really depends also on who your like point of contact is and what their policies are.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point at the beginning. Like this is like a partnership and it's a relationship, right? And if you're not feeling respected, I think that can go both ways too. Like if a brand's reaching out to you in good faith and then you come back with like 15 red lines, like, oh, I have to get paid this, I have to get paid this, like I'm not doing revisions, like it may seem a little combative on their end too. So I think I think you have to like be able to walk that line.
Right. And that's what I say too. Like you have to have clean hands in this relationship. Again, you're a business, everything should be professional. Because we had a situation actually where a creator came to us and she was like, they're not paying me, they're being so difficult. But I told you as part of our process, we read all of their communications. So as I was reading it, I was like, you're not the one who was wrong in the situation. Like the brand had actually been very respectful. I think she might have had the flu, maybe something came up with her kids. And they just kept giving her like a longer deadline. Extension. And then she would come back being very combative. And like they said, you didn't follow the brief, but again, very professionally. And she, argued with them about it. So we actually had to let her go. We refunded her money. And we were like, in this situation, you weren't the one who was causing problems, or you were the one causing problems. You were being very respectful throughout this entire process. You can't demand money for work you didn't complete, right? Like, or if you didn't do it the way that it was supposed to be. So it does work both ways. Like you're right. You have to be professional and they should also be professional in turn. But if that disrespect is happening, then you don't have to step back because you feel like you don't want to break a relationship. Like you still deserve money for content that you've created. Yeah,
for sure. So I didn't catch this at the beginning. Apologies. How long has DuPay been around now?
So we started in 2023. I think we're coming up. Actually, I think our anniversary for first invoice collected is in July. I could look for the date. But we really spent a lot of time honing our back end. So we really wanted to make sure our protocol was in place, that we were being very effective in the way that we were doing it. We wanted to very deliberately roll out these additional tools so that they could be helpful to our subscribers. And we played around with different payment options. So we did have a one-off model, which was more expensive. And then we really just came into this subscription model because of this long-term protection that we're really trying to advocate for, to be able to have this like ongoing invoice protection, which is why we also are announcing, I was telling you that earlier, a annual subscription, which actually, brings down the price a little bit more, the monthly price. But we just want to encourage people to have our protection like from start to finish.
Okay, cool. Sweet. We'll check, we'll keep our eyes open for that announcement. That's sweet. In those two, congrats on the 2 years, by the way, coming up next month. I guess by the time this airs, it will be July. So, in the last 2 years, in your opinion, because I want to get your perspective, it's super interesting. I mostly talk to creators on this podcast, obviously. How has UGC changed, even in the way like how businesses collect, how creators collect, how businesses invoice? Like, how have things changed in the last 2 years, in your opinion?
I mean, I do think it's becoming more professionalized, right? And I also think that with the economy the way that it is, big companies are looking at UGC more than they were in the past, which
Yeah.
gives more opportunities. So while more UGC creators are entering the space, I really do think that more opportunities are going to arise as well. And I
Yeah.
think creators are now seeing that this could be a long-term career goal. Like it's not something you just have to do on the side. It can be something that, like, as you were saying, if you're, going to start doing this full time, it's something that you really do need to take seriously as a career. And I think that opportunities will arise. You just have to meet the changes and the expectations that will be coming, because I do think that these big brands are going to be taking UGC much more seriously because there is so much value in it. I mean,
Yeah.
now I feel like before, when I told you I didn't know what UGC was, I see it all the time now. I didn't even know I was seeing it before I knew it. I just thought it was
Sneaky.
somebody who was like, oh, another mom was like telling me about this like product that I need. I was like, oh, okay, friend.
Yeah, you got,
I didn't realize
you're the target audience. You're
what?
getting suckered into it.
I'm so many people's target audiences. It's ridiculous. And I am the person that'll be like, bye. Like, I really, something, because I don't have time either. Like how I always say, time is valuable. If
Oh,
somebody's
yeah.
making it easy for me, and I think that's
Yeah.
what UGC creators are doing. They are showing you what you want and making it so easy to purchase. And I really do think that that is becoming much more popular among these brands. They're not seeing that these like long, expensive commercials are bringing in customers. It's really UGC. So I think there's a huge opportunity. I think it's just been growing like my time in it. And like my knowledge is growing, but I think other people's knowledge is growing as well. But it's
Yeah.
also been really nice to see creators who I met maybe at the beginning of this, and now they have their own communities and how much they've grown and like how it feels like I know somebody that I've never met
Yeah.
before, but they're special to me and they come back and, we support each other. And that's what I really love about UGC also. Like I'm coming from being a lawyer. This does not exist in the legal field,
Yeah.
this
I was
kind
gonna
of
say.
community. It's really refreshing to see this. And while not everything is, roses, but there really is a sense of community among UGC creators. And I really love being part of the community.
Yeah, and and like to your point, you guys have built out such a cool niche, like with your skill set, and like I don't know, I feel like you have the best of both worlds. I feel like it's really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what we're trying to do. We really are still trying to bring that human element to it, because people are always like, oh, I could do this with an automated reminder. And I'm like, no, an automated reminder is not going to advocate for you.
Yeah.
You also won't be able to, interact with an automated reminder, because unpaid invoices are super emotional, right? Like we were talking about that. It's like a pain point for people, and they want to feel like somebody understands them and is saying like, this is not okay. You are being gaslit. You don't appreciate, like you shouldn't be treated this way. And I like being able to bring that to the community as well. Just like having them know that I'm a support for them and that I exist.
Yeah, and I want to. You hit it like earlier too. Is like I feel like especially me, a lot of the creators I've met, like we're all just way too nice. I think, and it's just like, and it's hard because we don't like. It's like for us, it's like you hear about like personal branding and all that with UGC, and so I feel like we think that like, oh, if I'm like even a little bit abrasive with this brand, they're gonna just send an email to all the other brands, and then I'm gonna be like, you just go worst case scenario, which is obviously not logical.
Right. I've also actually never seen that happen, because I think people have that in like the back of their head. Even me, when I do something like that, or like, I mean, I'm on that PTA. I'm always like, okay, if I do this, is this going to affect this person? Is this person not going to talk to me anymore? That's just, human nature, but it really doesn't. And they're also all busy also. So there's not this secret network of people complaining about creators, because I am in some of these Slack channels and like within these groups. And that is not something that they talk about. They share, project ideas or events or networking opportunities. They're not like blasting individual creators. They really aren't. And if they're in a position where they're not paying somebody, they're going to look bad.
Yeah.
The creator's not going to look bad, especially if they're asking for their money in a professional way.
Yeah, just the opposite, right? People going into my community is like, hey, this brand ABC, is that anyone work with them? Oh yeah, they didn't pay me, or like, oh yeah, they're the worst to work with. So yeah, that's a really good point. Well, lastly, I super appreciate your time. I want to wrap up with this. Is there anything that you would advise new creators to do, like starting from scratch, right? Like as I'm learning, I've been in this 18 months now, which is, baby years compared to some of these other creators I've interviewed.
But also a lifetime compared to some creators.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, true. That's a good point. But like for me, I'm like, oh, I should have been doing these invoices from beginning, because now you're talking about like, okay, invoice numbers. I'm like, oh, I've got invoice numbers scattered across the seas, man. Like I don't know where they are. Like I built some on the ones the brand sent me, then I built some on Canva, then other ones are built, in free invoice generators and stuff. So what's like your number one piece of advice for a brand new creator listening that eventually wants to make UGC a serious either side gig or a main gig?
Right. I mean, it really is about treating creation as a business, like doing all the things that you would do as a business to make sure that you're in the best possible position to find collaborations, like give yourself off as being a professional entity and then collect your money. And it is the invoices. I think really that's the first tool that we added was you have to be very professional in terms of asking for your money so that you are getting paid. And then also it's about contracts. And while a lot of the brands will give you a contract, a lot of things are also done through DMs or emails and much more casually. And in those situations, you really have to make sure that you are encapsulating what the contract would say. So what was their offer? What was your acceptance? When was the content submitted and when is payment due? So even if it's more of an informal contract, you still need to be professional in those communications.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice. Well, appreciate you, Grace. I will list the the sign up to DoPay in the show notes. So if you guys want to learn more information, you can go there and it'll take you to the learn more page and where you can learn how to sign up. Again, $19 a month for this. I mean, to me, it's a no brainer because it's like potentially hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that you're not going to have to stress about. For me, it's like, that's why I asked the question of like, hey, when do I get a DoPay involved? Because I the third and fourth email, I just start to get super pissed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
So
taking time away, right, from your work.
Yeah.
Like mentally, emotionally, it really is.
Yeah. Or going back, right? Like once I send a video, I'm mentally like that's behind me. Right. And then if I have to go back a month later and I'm looking through my notes, I'm like, oh, cool, this brand didn't pay me. And I have to go back. It's just like annoying. So 100% worth the peace of mind. I love how you guys have made it affordable too. And it's not something crazy, right? It's for me, hey, that's a business expense that's like a non-negotiable. So well, I appreciate you, Grace. Any last words of wisdom or anything you want to say?
I mean, I'm proud of you creators, right? You're really putting yourself out there. It's been hard for me to do it. This is the first time I've ever created content. I was always the person taking the very bad picture, but not in front of the camera. So it's impressive that you're doing this, that you're making this a business. And I think you should just treat yourself as one because you deserve it.
Yeah, love it. Super appreciate it. Well, have a great rest of your Friday and we will chat with you later. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Nate.